Stevenson Auto Repair will provide fleet service too. Find them on Facebook or check them out on the web. Easy to remember, it's their name. Stevenson Auto Repair.com.
Your news and talk leader. This is AM 1320, FM 1013, WKAN, Kankakee. Remembering his life. I'm Lisa Listero, Fox News. Fireworks burned out in Minneapolis.
Good evening, and thank you for joining me. I want to start by acknowledging that there are people that are usually with me for this event that are not here tonight. Travis Miller, who is loved and embraced by my family as another son, and my baby sister Ursula, who passed away just 2 months ago. It's ironic that I received pink and white flowers today of all days from one of her high school classmates, Dr. Quentin Williams. Thank you. In honor of my sister, whom I lost on March 27th of this year at 41 years of age, I am wearing pink tonight, her favorite color. And I humbly ask all of you to join me in a moment of silence. Due to COVID-19 restrictions, I was only able to have a few people here this evening with some of my team members. But the person always by my side is my husband, Keith. Thank you. Who would have known that in June 2020, we would be living through a pandemic and I would have to give a State of the City address virtually? Though all of you cannot be in the room with me as I would like, I am going to do my best to help you see the positive things that have been happening in our city over the past year. We are living in historic times. Our grandchildren and great-grandchildren will one day read about the impact of COVID-19 and its impact on the world. And more importantly, how we Kankakeeans fought our way through this pandemic. I want to thank our community health providers, first responders, and all essential workers who have stepped up their efforts in response to this pandemic. I know all of you are exhausted, but I appreciate the way you show up for all of us every single day. Since this pandemic started, I got in front of this issue and provided video updates almost daily. I posted press releases and shared resources to keep you informed. With regular communications and prayer, I strive to reduce the anxiety and fear surrounding this virus and help equip all of us to attack it. In partnership with our state legislators, I wrote a letter to support and advocate for employees at Shapiro Developmental Center to receive the PPE needed so they could do their jobs safely. I participated during the governor's weekly calls to monitor strategies and direct resources to our city. I mailed a letter to all residents with COVID-19 updates, links to resources, and the announcement of our Bounce Back Kankakee program. And with the partnership of our federal leaders, I advocated for federal funding to bring more than $345,000 back to our city for mortgage, rent, and utility relief for eligible residents and business owners. In partnership with the City Council and administrative team, we are currently working on an outdoor dining ordinance and addressing the individual needs of business owners as we move through the next phases of recovery. Several years ago, you heard me say that Kankakee will not be defined by its challenges, but we will be defined by how we responded to those challenges. Now I'm going to share with you about how we are responding, and more importantly, how we are moving Kankakee forward. I want to start by thanking the team that is here to support me this evening and my administration. Thank you for showing up for this city to share with me a vision, your expertise, your passion, and your commitment. For many years, the city of Kankakee had been static in terms of technology, economic development, best practices, and staffing structures. Making changes has been challenging as most people resist and some oppose change. But this is not 1993. And in order to grow, we must adapt to the world as it evolves and try to stay ahead of what's to come. Though this has been and continues to be a challenging year, I want to share some of our accomplishments. In regard to the fiscal health of the city, the finance department is led by Elizabeth Kubel, comptroller, and Maureen Cambick, deputy comptroller. We passed another balanced budget for fiscal year 2020, as we have done in the last 3 years during my tenure as mayor. After close to a decade of sales tax litigation that resulted from lawsuits filed against the city of Kankakee for sales tax sharing agreements and thousands of dollars paid to past attorneys, the city settled on this matter with favorable terms during July of 2019. Together, the administration, legal partners, and city council entered into settlement agreements with 5 entities who were paid from funds that were held in escrow. Additionally, the city entered into a fleet management program spearheaded by the research done by our comptroller. As a result, the city is now leasing vehicles for a number of departments, saving costs on maintenance, repairs, and fuel. And finally, thanks to the vision and a desire to put people before politics, my administration, in partnership with the City Council, was able to lower the city's portion of property taxes for the 2nd consecutive year. This was a bipartisan effort and a demonstration of my ability to lead and rally this team to get this done for our community. Listening to the concerns of property owners regarding high taxes, educating the community with our plan, and bringing the full 14-member City Council on board to secure a unanimous vote has been a huge win for all property owners in the city of Kankakee. In our code department, we are led by Tamora Nelson, code official. When I became mayor during 2017, I was shocked to find the city was operating and following the 2003 building codes. This year, Tamora worked with her staff and the code committee led by Alderwoman Cherry Malone Marshall and co-chaired by Alderwoman Carmen Lewis to make sure the city updated to the most recent building codes, which are from 2018. We started outreach initiatives to include an inspection feedback form for landlords and surveys to improve the rental inspection process. We processed over 1,100 permits and collected more than $480,000. And through the new contractor's license that was implemented in this administration, the city was able to collect more than $50,000 in fees with 377 registered contractors. More importantly, we are now able to ensure these contractors are qualified and accessible. In our Human Resources Department, we are led by James Ellickson, Director. Goals of this administration shared by Director Ellickson include the reduction of costs, improving operations, advancing efficiencies, and modernizing our computer data and information. James has been spearheading the Paycor project to streamline payroll operations, improve productivity, and eliminate manual processes. Although we still have employees filling out paper forms to take time off and for other routine matters, we have progressed dramatically in our computer technology. Working across departments, Director Ellickson established a citywide safety committee that works in partnership with the Illinois Public Risk Fund. His efforts to reduce liability this year alone will add up to about $100,000. Additionally, James has worked with the legal team and provided training to all departments that has led to a 40% reduction of work comp claims and reduced liability for the city by 50%. As I have stated, the world is evolving and far different than just 3 years ago when I was elected. As a result of the COVID-19 pandemic and social unrest, having James's HR expertise at this time was critical to reform our policies, implement best practices, and update the employee handbook to meet the new and ever-changing state and federal guidelines. Economic and Community Development Agency, or our ECDA. This arm of the city includes the former CDA and Economic Development, which is now led by Barbie Brewer-Watson, Executive Director. In a short amount of time, Director Brewer-Watson has acclimated to the administration and worked closely with Alderwoman Danita Swanson, who chairs the CDA committee, and our team to execute grants including lead abatement, single-family rehab, Brownsfield, and more. The ECDA team worked hard to regain access to $945,000 in unspent entitlement funds that were allocated to the city of Kankakee from years 2014 through 2018. Yes, this is the department that is supposed to find and spend grant dollars. And prior to my election, the past administration had literally left hundreds of thousands of dollars on the table. During this year alone, the ECDA team secured $54,000 in funding for a land bank grant. They secured another $25,000 in Census 2020 grant funding for hard-to-count communities. This is helping us ensure that all Kankakeeans get counted, which results in more federal monies coming to our city. In fact, the census is so important that the National League of Cities provided $1.6 million in grants to cities, villages, and towns across this country. I am proud to report that I personally applied for and secured an additional $10,000 in census grant funding. With this funding, I will hire 2 interns under the office of the mayor this summer to assist with hard-to-count populations such as youth, homeless, and minorities. I have already filled one of those positions with Melanie Villagomez. Welcome to our team, Melanie. The interns under the Office of the Mayor will also work on census counts, outreach initiatives, and advance the work of Kankakee United while gaining skills needed for career development. I am looking to fill another position, so if you know of any youth who are looking for work this summer, please have them apply through our city's website. In regard to home ownership, under the ECDA, the Kankakee Housing Incentive Program, or KHIP, has helped 12 new families become homeowners in the city of Kankakee. I must mention that without the partnership of Midland States Bank, who allocated $150,000 to the program, those homeowners would not have received that assistance. I would like to thank Scott Snavely and Midland States Bank for their continued support of this program and remind all of you that applications are still available. With the hiring of our designated Business Attraction and Retention Coordinator, Brad Benoit, the community has experienced many benefits. Brad is a Kankakee native and recently returned home to work in his hometown, aiding our business owners with his expertise in management, grants, and customer service. Making it easy to do business in the city of Kankakee is a priority for everyone. and that has been demonstrated by many efforts. The ECDA has implemented an aggressive outreach strategy to engage the community and our business owners. Through a designated tab on the city's website, community surveys, business retention visits, and the formulation of the new Citizens Advisory Board, CAB, we are engaging our residents on key issues. The Citizens Advisory Board is comprised of a diverse cross-section of community stakeholders who provide input on how the city utilizes its grant funding to improve the quality of life for those who live in our city. Working with the Economic Development Committee, chaired by Alderman Fred Tedder and co-chaired by Alderwoman Stacey Gall, there have been a number of new businesses that opened this past year. Those include Evolve Clothing Company, DC Glam Salon, Pizza Hut, Amerigreens, and Tractor Supply at Exit 308. Evolve Clothing Company, owned by Christy Smith, is an upscale boutique, and I had the pleasure of purchasing my daughter's Christmas presents there last December. Tractor Supply in Ward 4 is located in a TIF district, and prior to moving in, there had been no economic activity in that TIF for 10 years. It is important to know the tax increment finance districts are vital to the city's growth as they help us attract new businesses and industry to economically help our city. Earlier, I mentioned new businesses, but the city has also had some business expansions this past year. And some of those include 5 Star Wings, Yellow Elephant Gallery, and a recent purchase by Doug Baum of the Clock Tower and PNC Bank in downtown Kankakee. If you speak with some of my staff, they will tell you that 5 Star Wings, owned by Troy Clark, has the best lemon chicken wings and peach cobbler in town. And though the COVID-19 pandemic delayed the annual Mayor's Conference sponsored by the Kaufman Foundation of Kansas City, I am still very committed and engaged in doing the work to learn more about strengthening small businesses and supporting ecosystems in our community. This work impacts our entrepreneurs, such as Cornell Jones, who's a hairstylist, Andre Terrell, who's a fashion designer, Amy Roush, owner of the Majestic Theater and an event planner, Jackie Maiden Jefferson, caterer, Autumn Hodak of Nirvana by Autumn, esthetician, Stephen and Ari Frose, owners of Stafari Cafe, Seaborn Billings and Elaine Richmond, proud owners of the recently renovated International Lounge, Courtney Wade of Ebony Pearls Boutique, jewelry maker, and Berlin Louvion and Tracy Caldwell-Verrett, both amazing makeup artists. These are a few of the many talented, committed, and hard-working entrepreneurs who are a part of our small business ecosystem and whom I personally and proudly support. For Kankakee to continue to thrive, we must encourage new businesses to locate here by showing them our support. In our fire department, we are led by Chief Damon Schultz and Eric Bonas, who serves as Deputy Chief. This year, we purchased an additional ambulance to ensure a reliable vehicle in our fleet to meet the medical emergencies of our residents. The department provided fire safety education to every public and private school in the city of Kankakee from kindergarten through 3rd grade. And during the past year, our department's Insurance Service Organization, or ISO rating, increased from a 2 to a 1, making it one of the few fire departments in the state of Illinois to receive a #1 rating. This is significant because the rating measures the department's ability to effectively respond to fires and emergencies. In the history of the Kankakee Fire Department, the department has never achieved an ISO rating of 1. Congratulations to the chief, deputy chief, and all of our first responders. Moving to infrastructure. The city is very fortunate to work with the dynamic engineering firm, Pegash Engineering, and Mike Hoffman, who serves as our city planner with Tesca Associates. The engineer and planner have been a dynamic duo in helping to advance projects in the city. In the past year, the city has advanced the Safe Routes to School project at Keene Middle School, which is a project that started with a letter to me by a fourth grader named Ty Balderson. In our downtown district, phase 1 of the Schuyler Avenue Streetscape project was completed and demonstrated an example of the perseverance and grit of this team. Though a rainy season impacted construction schedules and delayed this project for months, once completed, I rallied the team, pushing for a community celebration of this project. I wanted to celebrate this completion of this project not only because of the beautification it provides in the heart of our downtown, but I wanted to start to change our city's narrative, which included the slogan from the late 80s and 90s that said, "The last one in Kankakee, turn off the lights." That awful slogan spoke to a time in our city when we lost thousands of manufacturing jobs, saw an increase in crime, and many families experienced feelings of hopelessness. On February 4th, 2020, a brutally cold day, this community stood with pride, demonstrating and celebrating our resilience. Attending this event were children, city staff, elected leaders, and business owners like Terrence Hooper, who owns Grapes and Hops, and Elizabeth Dunbar, who owns the Yellow Elephant Gallery, located in the Burfield and Remington downtown. Our message was and is, Kankakee has turned the lights back on, and we are moving forward. Together, we are developing into a thriving community where our downtown is beautiful, vibrant, and fun things are happening. Efforts to implement the Riverfront Master Plan, which was adopted by the City Council during July 2018, have also continued. This past year, we have secured additional grant funding for land acquisition. We have formed the Kankakee Riverfront Society nonprofit to raise funds, and we hired a team to create the brand for this transformational project that will not only have economic, recreation, and social impact for the city, but also for our region in the years to come. I want to thank the Kankakee Riverfront implementation team for all of their work. Moving to the east part of town, we find Hobby Avenue. As you all know, Hobby Avenue is a main route to the eastern corridor of Kankakee County. It serves as a truck route and has significant drainage issues. Located in the 1st and 7th wards, this corridor has not seen a lot of investment, particularly in infrastructure. Alderwoman Cherry Malone Marshall currently serves as one of our city council representatives for the 4th ward, and she shared with me that she has lived in the 1st ward her entire life. As a little girl, she and her neighborhood friends would get in a canoe and paddle along the street because that's how much water flooded Hobby Avenue. It may have been fun as a kid, but I know, and you all know, that no one in our city deserves to live in a neighborhood that floods every single time there's heavy rain. This project has now come to the top of the list, and I have fought for our city to keep it there. It will be federally funded with $4 million for improvements to the road, drainage infrastructure, and more. Construction is anticipated during year 2021. Moving to our environmental services utility, our city is very fortunate to have Pete Shield, who serves as our superintendent and has worked for the City of Kankakee for more than 27 years. Pete brings extensive knowledge of the city's infrastructure. The utility houses our lab, which processes water samples to ensure that we all have safe drinking water. It houses our Department of Public Works, which does a great job of keeping our city clean, streets plowed, and trees trimmed. It houses our IT, Technical Services, a team that has really stepped up this year to make sure the city provides transparency to residents through live streaming from the website, broadcasts, and more. Moving to our police department, our team is led by Chief Frank Cosman and Deputy Chief Willie Hunt. Over the past year, as the chief got acclimated to the department and moved into the community, he worked with me to utilize technology to address crime, strengthen community partnerships, and address diversity so that our police department reflects the demographics of the community it serves. The team achieved a 16% reduction in Part 1 serious crimes, such as homicides, from the amount recorded in 2017. Under the law enforcement leadership team, the Ring Neighborhood Watch program was launched. This is a free downloadable app that allows communication between the police department and the community. When discussing the Ring app tool with the community, Second Ward resident Patricia Santorio Marin thanked the city for providing updates through the Ring, since it helps to keep information in real time. The team also implemented a safe passage program providing access to a no-cost opioid addiction rehab program. So instead of criminalizing residents who are suffering from addictions, we now have a resource and plan to help those residents get the care that they need. Additionally, over the past year, the police department hired 6 patrol officers and increased the diversity of the department, with 3 of those hires being minorities. The city partnered with our state's attorney, Jim Rowe, county judges, and county board to implement technology to monitor juveniles who have violent offenses. Thank you to our county leaders for their partnership. Earlier in my term, I had the good fortune of visiting a Strong Neighborhoods home in Rockford. I was impressed with the partnership that I witnessed between the police department and the community, and I believe that this would be a good tool for the city of Kankakee. As part of the Kankakee United initiative to address gun violence, the Strong Neighborhoods Home is a valuable resource for our Second Ward families who are experiencing the highest incidence of gun violence in our city. I want to thank our local United Way, led by Executive Director Kirsten Rust, and the leadership team of the Kankakee School District, led by Dr. Janera Walters, for partnering with the city on this project. I also want to thank Alderwoman Stacy Gall, who has been a strong advocate of this project, lifting the voices of the residents in her ward and working closely with Director Brewer Watson, the CDA committee, and the city's ECDA team. And in response to the recent shootings that occurred around some of our elementary schools during the fall, the goal of the administration was to purchase this home by summer 2020. I am proud to report the city team did deliver this year, with the city council approving the purchase of the Strong Neighborhoods home last month. This home will be a safe place for our youth and families in the Second Ward, providing programming, tutoring, mentoring, with the addition of a police substation on site. In terms of accreditation, our police department received its 4th reaccreditation from the Commission on Accreditation for Law Enforcement Agencies, or what is commonly referred to as CALEA. CALEA is a national commission on accreditation for law enforcement credentialing authority based in the United States, whose primary mission is to accredit public safety agencies, namely law enforcement agencies, training academies, communication centers, and campus public safety agencies. Some benefits of having this certification include greater accountability within the police department, staunch support from government officials, and reduced risk and liability exposure. Congratulations to our police department on a job well done. I want to thank Theotis Pace, president of our local NAACP branch, and Chief Cosman for their leadership in adopting the 10 shared principles. The 10 shared principles were established between the Illinois Association of Police Chiefs and the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, NAACP. The shared principles help bridge the gap of mistrust between law enforcement and communities of color. In the state of Illinois, the principles have been adopted by 168 police departments. We recently saw this commitment from our police department demonstrated just this past weekend during the peaceful protests led by Travis Miller, Sharday Lawhorn, and Kashana Roberts that occurred in response to George Floyd's death and police brutality. Though the organizers did not have permits from the city, specifically to shut down state routes, the police chief and I understood this was the time to seize a moment within our community and our nation. A big part of our jobs as mayor and police chief is keeping our community safe. And during our conversations, Chief Cosman and I committed to allowing protesters to peacefully and respectfully raise their voices. I am very proud of our department's conduct in serving and protecting not only the protesters, but the rest of the community. Thank you to the peaceful protesters, our community residents, our police department, for being an example of what respect, dignity, and peace looks like while bringing attention to such serious issues in our country. Before I close on my comments about our police department, I want to mention Keenan Love, who is with me this evening. Keenan is from our city and moved to Chicago some time ago. To demonstrate his support to end police brutality, he walked 46 miles, 1 mile for every year George Floyd lived. He chose to walk from Chicago back to his hometown of Kankakee. The grueling demands he placed on his body demonstrated his peaceful protest and determination to stand against what is happening to Black men in our country. And in doing so, he rallied communities along his journey who supported his efforts. People such as Debbie Davis Humble and myself, who couldn't get out and walk, but we made financial contributions. Ayanna Smith, who drove to meet him near Matson, took his blood pressure and provided him water. Taisha Smith, who made him a finish line of balloons so that once he crossed the line in Kankakee, we all could celebrate him. And finally, Kent Wade, who monitored and reported Keenan's progress through social media to keep the community informed of how things were going. Keenan started this journey for George Floyd and all Black men who fear for their lives. He did not do this for attention, glory, or social media likes. He did this for people everywhere because he believes we should all treat one another with dignity and respect. He believes in unifying his community and not tearing it down. Before he took this journey, I did not know him, but I will say that I am proud that I have met you, and I'm very proud that you are a Kankakeean. You exemplify the best of who we are. As a people, we are loving, we are strong, we are passionate, we are determined, and we are overcomers. So to you, Keenan, and peaceful protesters of all ages, all ethnicities, all genders, and all religions, We see you. We hear you. We support you, and we love you. And to you young people, you especially give us hope that we can work together toward a better future. At this time, as you all know, I invited Keenan Love to be with me this evening for the State of the City address. I would like to bring him up and present him with a plaque. If you can hold it. You can just hold it. I'd like to present to you Keenan Love for your peaceful protest and bringing the community together to generate awareness of social injustice, presented by Mayor Chastity Wells Armstrong, June 4th, 2020. Thank you so much for what you did.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Would you like to say a few words? I'm gonna step away and let Keenan say a couple words. You don't have to, just whatever's on your heart.
Hey, how's everybody doing? I wanna really bring the community back together in ways we've never seen before. And it's gonna take for us to lead by example, and it's gonna start with the younger generation. And I feel like we need to invest into the young generation with everything we got, because that's our future. And it's going to be on us to bring it together. Love y'all.
Thank you, Keenan, for your example, for changing the narrative of what Black men are, for showing that we can peacefully protest. Thank you for that. Moving on to our marketing and communications department, we are led by Jasmine Humble, who serves as our coordinator. Jasmine is a seasoned professional with a strong background in media and journalism, someone who was born and raised in the city of Kankakee and wanted to come home and work in her hometown. Many of us, I remember the voice of Pastor Howard Wills expressing a desire to see our young people not only go away to college, but also come back home to work. This position is fairly new, and it works in collaboration with all city departments. The Kankakee Development Corporation, which is known as our KDC, Downtown Business Owners, and our City Council. Jasmine has written more than 100 press releases to keep residents updated with regard to projects, initiatives, events, and public service announcements. She manages all of the city's social media platforms and has increased social media followers by more than 1,000 followers. She works closely on my outreach initiatives, including Love My City, My Healthy Hometown, monthly observances to lift up our community, and Kankakee United. She has created and produced videos for the city's social media and website, with her #1 video that exceeded 7,000 views, featuring the police department for National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day during January of this year. In 1993, there was no social media. Residents did not expect to have news in real time. Jasmine, as a one-woman department, working with my office and interns in her role, has enriched our city's presence in the digital space and improved the quality of life and culture of our residents. Even surrounding municipalities look to our city and our social media sites for information and resources. Moving on to our Kankakee Public Library, we are led by Steve Bertrand, Executive Director, and Allison Beasley, Assistant Director, another dynamic duo. Over the past year, the library added Canopy and movie service, which is available to library card holders. They have started replacing old computers with new ones so our residents have the best technology. And they launched a Library of Things, which allows patrons to check out an assortment of items such as board games, household tools, or instruments. What can I say? There is no doubt we have one of the best libraries in the state of Illinois. It is beautiful, it is welcoming, and the staff are responsive to the needs of our community. I would be remiss if I did not mention my executive assistant in the mayor's office, Lynn James Williams. Lynn is a Kankakee native, Kankakee School District graduate, and has a heart for our youth. She has streamlined processes in the mayor's office and has taken on the role of city lead for our Kankakee United initiative to address gun violence among youth in our community. She has strengthened partnerships in the community and established programming for youth through this initiative. And I want to say thank you, Lynn, for all you do to make Kankakee better. As we keep our youth in mind, as Keenan mentioned, we know they need our support now more than ever, especially during these uncertain times. I want to first congratulate the class of 2020. We are proud of you. And while this year did not go as planned, and many of you are very disappointed that you did not have the opportunity to traditionally celebrate milestones, you all have proven that you are able to adapt. Being able to adapt is a skill that will serve you well, because there are times when challenges will come and you will be forced to adjust, as we have seen it and lived it the past 3 months. To further support our youth, I have continued to partner with Olivet Nazarene University and other academic institutions, providing students internships with the city to learn about local government and gain exposure to workforce skills. I especially want to thank Olivet Nazarene University and specifically Susan Wolf, Executive Director of University Relations and Communications Professor. Susan mentored a dynamic group of public relations students and facilitated partnerships with the City of Kankakee to work on marketing, communications, and PR. One of their shining stars, Rachel Schramm, was part of the student cohort, and I am very proud to report the City of Kankakee recently hired Rachel to serve in the ECDA as Outreach Coordinator. Congratulations to you, Rachel. With the help and generosity of community partners, I have again raised more than $10,000 this year and have awarded 5 $2,000 scholarships for my African American Civic Leader Scholarship. Those scholarships will go to Curtis Smith, Deasia Love, Janae Fleming, Kamia Smith, and Joe Martin III. I created this scholarship to reduce barriers for African American students. According to the United Negro College Fund, college degrees are regarded as a primary vehicle for reducing poverty and closing wealth gaps. Barriers to graduating from college for some African American students is evidenced by low retention rates for Black students across the nation. The retention rate is partially due to the fact that 65% of African American college students are independent, meaning that they must balance pursuing a degree with full-time work and family responsibilities. Those statistics speak to my own experiences of becoming a mother at the age of 18 and working multiple jobs to help support my family while putting myself through college. In this group of students this year, I am proud to announce that we have a future pharmacist, electrical engineer, financial advisor, business owner, and graphic designer. Let's give these outstanding students a round of applause. Moving Kankakee forward addresses needs of all. And since the beginning of my administration, we have made efforts to do just that. I want to thank Patricia Santorio-Marin, Second Ward resident and bilingual presenter, who partnered with Lynn Williams, my executive assistant, to help launch the city's Diversity and Inclusion series, starting with the presentation surrounding the RISE Act. The RISE Act, which stands for the Retention of Illinois Students and Equity Act, allows eligible, undocumented, and transgender students who are disqualified from federal financial aid to apply for all forms of state financial aid, including the Monetary Award Program, or MAP grants. MAP grants are the state's largest need-based grant program for low-income college students, and these are funds that do not have to be paid back. I believe that all students should have a fair chance at pursuing higher education, and I will remain committed to my efforts to support these students by providing resources, advocating for their needs, and sponsoring a Hispanic student's education yearly, as I have done for the past years through the annual Hispanic Partnership Scholarship. As we move Kankakee forward, the state of our city is strong. It is strong because in my role as mayor, I am working every single day to elevate the voice and needs of our community. I work closely through my partnerships with the Illinois Municipal League, the National League of Cities, the Mayor's Innovation Project, in addition to partnering with our state and federal legislators. My work with the Kauffman Foundation continues as our team seeks ways to improve the ecosystems for small business owners. Through our continued work with Cities United, a national coalition of mayors across the country, I will continue to lead efforts in our city to reduce gun violence and help our youth remain healthy, stay hopeful, and be productive. Over the past year, I have worked with legislators to secure funding to address the unemployment of residents and business owners caused by the pandemic, advance the development of the Riverfront Project, and support an accurate census count. Though the issue of adult use cannabis was controversial in the city of Kankakee, I worked with progressive leaders in our community to move our city toward the adoption of a cannabis ordinance. And when it came to cannabis legislation for our city, I was in the room where it happened. That's a reference to Lin-Manuel's Broadway play, Hamilton. The work that went into adopting this ordinance took countless hours of research, conversations, and meetings. I want to thank our legal team, Odelson Stirk, and specifically Bert Odelson, who wrote the model cannabis ordinance for our city that is now being used as a model in our state. I want to thank Chris Schmitz, who with other duties supports our legal team as a liaison, often drafting legal documents and conducting research. I believe the recent cannabis legislation provides a pathway to heal and restore the damage that has been done to Black and brown communities who were incarcerated for years related to cannabis crimes. This occurred while white, wealthy business owners profited from the use of this plant. Given that cannabis is now legal in the state of Illinois for both medical and adult use, it made no sense to me to leave this revenue stream on the table when it can provide much needed funding for our city. Cannabis has been and always will remain in the community. Legalization now provides a safer product for adult use. Further benefits of the legalization include the equity component of providing opportunities to those who have been disproportionately impacted to now participate in the economic benefits of this expanded industry. And that includes employment and ownership of businesses that are tied to the cannabis industry. Furthermore, funds collected from cannabis revenues will be directed to programming around education, youth development, address gun violence and addiction, in addition to sponsoring initiatives to address legal aid and remove barriers that prevent people from being gainfully employed and fully participating in society. And with my recent appointment by Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton to the Restore, Reinvest, and Renew Board, the R3 Board, I will be working to oversee and manage the 25% of cannabis revenues in our state and direct funding to R3 zones for programming. Again, to have a restorative approach to those impacted by the punitive and unfair policies of the war on drugs. Some of you may not be aware, but the city of Kankakee is in R3 zone. But because it is, and having been given this opportunity, I will use this appointment by the Lieutenant Governor to lift our voices and direct much-needed resources back to the city of Kankakee. In working with our respective taxing bodies, the city established the East Court TIF district during February of this year. And in doing so, I had my sights set on the first development for the East Court TIF. Thanks to the expertise of the city's municipal law firm, I spearheaded negotiations of a new development agreement with Ricky Rockets. Ricky Rockets is a complex which includes a fuel center, car wash, national restaurant, and a possible breakfast facility. Even our attorney, Bert Olderson, thought that my vision of a new agreement was not likely to happen. We had many meetings. He didn't think it would happen since the city had previously, in the past administration, entered into an agreement with this developer. However, I refused to believe the terms of the old agreement were the best that we could do for our city. In my role as mayor today, I was committed to getting a better agreement for the city of Kankakee and making this economic engine happen now. I would not approve the old agreement that gave 50% of our sales tax and gaming revenues away for 20 years. This administration negotiated no split of revenues, thus keeping an estimated $5 to $8 million in the city for our residents and for the needed growth and development. And with the unanimous approval of the City Council during April of this year, we secured a new deal, $10 to $12 million of investment on the east side of town off exit 312. This is in a part of our city that serves as our gateway and has been underserved for years. I want to thank the City Council. We've had some new ones come on board, Alderman Mike Cobbs in the 6th Ward, Alderman Mike Prude. They were very engaged, but true leadership was shown with Alderman Carl Brown, Alderman Fred Tedder, and Alderwoman Swanson, who were strong advocates for this project. The Ricky Rockets project is anticipated to generate approximately $250,000 per year, which will be applied by ordinance to the underfunded pensions. It will also add an additional $200,000 to our general fund. Getting this done required innovative thinking, determination, and passion. I want to thank Neil Pagash, our engineer, and Mike Hoffman, our planner, in addition to Elizabeth Kubel, who crunched all the numbers. As we move Kankakee forward, please know that the state of the city is strong. Over the past 3 years, you can see a change in the city, a focus on equity to make sure resources are being allocated across the entire city for infrastructure projects. Projects such as the Schuyler Avenue streetscape that spans across Wards 1 and 2. Drainage improvements in Wards 3, 6, and 7. New businesses such as AmeriGreens and Tractor Supply in Ward 4. Evolve Boutique in Ward 1, Pizza Hut in Ward 5, and more. Coming this year, our team, in support of the City Council, will continue advancing the work on Hobby Avenue, Brookmont Boulevard, the Riverfront Trail, the Safe Routes to School project in front of Keene Middle School, the Riverfront Master Plan, Phase 2 of the Schuyler Avenue streetscape, the Exit 312 gateway signage, and the River Valley Metro transfer bus station on East Chestnut Street. In regard to housing, the City of Kankakee portion of your property taxes decreased approximately 20% in tax year 2019, while the equalized assessed values increased close to $11 million. And as you all know, the city's housing stock is aging, and we have not built apartments in almost 50 years. Tasked with this issue, the administration has been working closely with J. Jeffers Company, a developer from Milwaukee, who is seeking to build multifamily housing with amenities to provide the type of quality housing that many of our young professionals and retirees seek in today's economy. Our goal is to start this project in the coming year. Our city is strong. It is strong because of the forward-thinking, committed, and hard work of this administration, including the City Council and our support staff. It is strong because we are not the administration of the status quo. It is strong because we are a visionary administration that will continue to move Kankakee forward. Our city is strong because of residents like you who love Kankakee like I do. As we move Kankakee forward, I will remain focused on bringing resources back home to our city. I will continue to lift the people and voices of our community. And I encourage you to stay engaged in the number of platforms we have created that allow you to do so. Those include our website, social media platforms, monthly Kankakee Chats live streams, monthly Mingle with the Mayor sessions, Friday night date nights with the mayor, monthly radio interviews, and when we are on the other side of this pandemic, events in our community. I truly miss seeing my people. As we move Kankakee forward, we must continue to be gracious in working together to navigate this pandemic and the recent tragic events which have resulted in great unrest in communities across the United States. We will need to recover from the financial and emotional impact of COVID-19. We will need to continue to address gun violence in our own community, but also the violence we see in the world. Racism, bigotry, and prejudice have been an ugly part of our past in the United States. But unfortunately, it is also an ugly part of our present. Our youth deserve a future free of violence, oppression, and brutality they witnessed in our nation. I offer my heartfelt condolences to all lives lost to police brutality, and most recently to the family of George Floyd of Minneapolis, Minnesota. I offer my heartfelt condolences to the families of our first responders who lost their loved ones through senseless crimes. I stand before you today as your mayor, who is an advocate for social justice, peace, and dignity of life for all persons. I have provided my local response to the incident in Minneapolis and am proud that our city has a police chief that will be working with me to lead a national effort to make systemic change to policing in this country. As I stated earlier, we are living and experiencing historic times. We are experiencing the challenges and pain of a municipality that needs more tools to work more efficiently for its residents. But as I pledged to you more than 3 years ago, and as we have proven to you in these past 3 years, the city of Kankakee will not be defined by those challenges. This administration will continue to be nonstop, and we Kankakeeans, we will be defined by how we move Kankakee forward together. Thank you. Last year, I had the honor of presenting a key to the city. And again, for this State of the City address, I wanted to identify another person from our community who has made a significant impact on the residents in our community. Taiwan Hagler was born and raised in Kankakee, Illinois, and currently resides in Westchester, Ohio. He has 2 sons, Darian and Taiwan II, and 1 daughter, Sarai. Taiwan was an outstanding football player and received numerous awards and recognitions during his high school career at Bishop McNamara High School. He was a highly recruited scholar athlete and received a full athletic scholarship to play football at the University of Cincinnati. He was a 3-year starter at outside linebacker and played in several bowl games for the Bearcats. He received the Brig Owens Most Outstanding Defensive Back Award in 2004. After graduating, he entered the NFL draft and was selected in the 5th round by the Indianapolis Colts. He spent 6 seasons with the Colts, competing in 2 Super Bowls and winning a Super Bowl in 2007. Post-NFL, he continued his education and in 2014 graduated from Xavier University in Cincinnati, Ohio, with a master's degree in sports administration. In 2006, the Taiwan Hagler Foundation was established, where they believe the goal is to enhance individual sports skills, as well as instill character development through teamwork and good sportsmanship. Developing good character means developing the ability to make good decisions, becoming respectful, and assuming responsibility for one's own actions. Through his foundation, Taiwan continues to be committed to Bishop McNamara by holding the Taiwan Hagler Free Kids Can Do Summer Football Camp at Bishop McNamara's Memorial Field. The camp brings hundreds of youth ages 6 through 18 together annually for football instruction, including preparation for pass, punt, and kick competition. A cheerleading camp for boys and girls is also offered at this camp. Parents, coaches, and community members enjoy this annual day just as much as the youth participants. Last summer marked the 13th year of the camp. In addition, the Taiwan Hagler Foundation sponsored its 6th basketball tournaments, which is held at the Kankakee Valley Park District Rec Center. His foundation also encourages and supports educational advancement and recognizes and rewards 2 outstanding and deserving students with a partial financial scholarship to pursue a college degree. There is an extensive application that students must submit to be considered for the collegiate scholarship, and foundation board members select the recipients. Use of funds is for tuition assistance, room and board, books, living expenses, or for the purchase of education tools such as a laptop or tablet. I think most people in our community know who you are, so without further ado, I'd like to bring up Taiwan Hagler and present him the key to the city. Taiwan Hagler, for your continued investment in the youth of Kankakee, presented by Mayor Chastity Wells Armstrong, June 4th, 2020.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'd like to thank everyone for the award, and it's definitely a blessing. And I love the slogan Kankakee Forward, so I would like to be a part of helping move Kankakee forward. And I love the vision you have for the city, and we have great leadership. I'd like to keep going, let's keep this momentum going. Thank you.
Okay. We have concluded our presentation for this evening. I want to thank all of you for joining me for our 2020 State of the City address. We've been a little busy this year and have a lot to look forward to in the coming year. And again, I want to congratulate Keenan Love for your passion and your example of peaceful protest. And Taiwan, it's such a pleasure to have you come back. I know you came from Ohio to be with us tonight. A lot of people leave and forget their hometown, but I really appreciate the fact that you come back every single year. It's been a pleasure to get to know you, work with your beautiful mother, Cynthia Willis, and anything that I can do to continue to support you, let me know. Okay, thank you. Everybody have a good evening.